The movie starts with a flashback, showing a horrifying scene where a Chinese drug cartel is assaulting a woman. Her boyfriend, Kang, works for these very gangsters. Kang wants to stop them, but he knows if he tries to intervene, his boss will kill both of them. Unable to bear the sight, Kang considers taking his own life, putting a gun to his head. But at the last second, he changes his mind. After the assault, Kang goes to his girlfriend and promises her that one day, he will make all of them pay for what they did. The scene shifts to the present day at a courthouse. There's an unusually high level of security because today, a major Chinese mafia boss is on trial. He knows that this time, he won't be able to escape justice. They're going to execute him. We see Kang inside the courtroom with his new crew. We also see his girlfriend, Gina, who has left her old life behind to become a criminal. She's not the same girl anymore. She's a complete psychopath who gets a thrill from killing people. In the middle of the trial, a massive explosion goes off, and Kang and his men open fire on everyone in the courtroom. They shoot everyone from the judge to all the witnesses and civilians. Outside the courtroom, one of the police officers, Don, hears a faint sound of gunfire, but he thinks it's just some children popping balloons. Officer Don decides to investigate with a small team. When he gets inside, he sees that Kang and his team have already killed everyone. The mafia boss tells Kang to hurry up, as they don't have much time. Kang looks at him and laughs. He and Gina have been waiting for this moment for years. The boss was one of the men who hurt Gina, and Kang never forgot it. Gina kills the boss with a grenade, avenging the assault. When Don hears the sound of the explosion, he enters the courtroom. But in all the chaos, it's impossible to tell who the real criminals are. Before Don can understand what's happening, Kang's men open fire and kill all the police officers with Don. When Don comes to, he's surrounded by the dead bodies of his colleagues. Gina tries to kill him, but he manages to escape. Just then, the mafia boss's son, Quan, arrives with his men to kill the police officers surrounding the building, so Kang and his team can get out. Don sees Kang holding his gun to one of his fellow officers. Don tells Kang to let him go, that he's injured and won't be able to get very far, and he can take Don instead. Kang thinks this is the first smart thing a cop has ever said. He gets close to Don, but he doesn't realize that Don has a grenade in his hand. When Don pulls the pin, Kang runs, but Don grabs him. The grenade could explode at any moment. Gina shoots at Don, but the bullet hits Kang, killing him instantly. Just then, the grenade explodes, injuring Don badly. A little later, the police enter and find Gina crying over Kang's body. She tries to take her own life, but the police manage to capture her alive. Don is still alive, but is in terrible condition. He's bleeding from his eyes because of the explosion. As Gina is being taken away, she looks at the half-dead Don and tells him that one day she will come back for him and that every moment of his life from now on is a gift from her. Don's eyes were badly damaged in the explosion. The doctors tell him that they cannot be repaired with any kind of surgery, meaning he is now permanently blind. Only he and another officer, Lee, survived the massacre. Their worried superior officer tries to blame them for the deaths of all the other officers. Lee tells him that Don's decision was to save the people inside the courtroom, and he even took the bullet for everyone. But the department doesn't care. Lee refuses to sign the document, but Don agrees to take full responsibility to protect him. The next day, a memorial service is held for the dead officers. The families of the dead officers all hate Don because they were told his poor decision caused their deaths. Don is tormented by nightmares every night, constantly seeing his colleagues dying. His life has become very difficult, and his inability to see frustrates him more and more. He starts breaking things in his house and yelling at people on the street. One day, the police arrest him for breaking a man's car window. Lee bails him out and tells him to move on with his life, because even their own department won't stand by him. Don has a daughter, Jen, who now takes care of him. With his lack of vision, his other senses have become much stronger, and he can now sense things he couldn't before. He trains himself to get better at it and make sure he can take care of himself. Meanwhile, Quan's men approach Gina to get her to sign some papers to move her to a different jail. Her lawyer has tried to get her to sign 31 times, but she knows it's a trap. She asks them why they don't just kill her. She knows Quan wants to kill her for killing his father. On the other side, Don is getting his daughter ready for an orchestra performance. He sits down to wait for her. After a few performances, when it's Jen's turn, she realizes she has forgotten her instrument at home. Her teacher gets mad and gives her a punishment by making another girl take her place. As the kids perform, Jen stands behind the stage, crying. From his seat, Don notices that one of the instruments sounds a little different. He had heard his daughter practice every day, and he knows that the sound is not right. He realizes that Jen is not on the stage. He immediately calls her, but she doesn't pick up because she is sad. She doesn't realize that a group of men is following her. Don gets up in the middle of the performance and looks for his daughter, but he can't find her. He calls her again, and this time, Jen screams for help. She is being kidnapped by Kwan's men. Don tries to save her, but they hit him with the car and drive away. Don reports the kidnapping to the police, and they start a search operation. After a few hours, they get a report that a girl's body in a school uniform has been found near the beach. Don is scared that it might be his daughter. He rushes to the crime scene, and the police show him some items from the body. Don touches them and realizes that they all belong to his daughter. He starts crying because they hit her so brutally. But when he touches the hand of the girl's body, he realizes it's not his daughter's. His daughter's hands were rough from practicing the violin for so many years, but these hands are very soft. He realizes that someone planned this to make him believe his daughter is dead. Meanwhile, in prison, all the prisoners stop talking to Gina and try to stay away from her. Before she can understand why, they attack her. She kills them one by one, but then sees Don on the television. She remembers that she has to get her revenge on him too. She tells her attackers that she will sign the papers. After she signs them, she is transferred to another prison. On the way, Kwan's men attack the police convoy with bombs. The car flips over, and all the police officers die. The men go to get Gina's body, but she gets out of the car with a machine gun and kills all of them. She steals a police officer's badge and gun and runs away. The police make Don sign a paper that confirms that the body found near the beach is his daughter. The police want to close the case, and Don realizes they are all in on it. He has to find his daughter himself. As the police are taking him, he attacks them and runs away with a girl, holding a gun to her head to get away. It's revealed that the girl is Gina. She was there to kill him, but she changed her mind. She tells him that she knows his daughter is alive, and that this is not the first time this has happened. It's a human trafficking network, and they kidnap girls and auction them off on the dark web. She also wants to take revenge on these people, because they once tried to auction her off. She also tells him that the police are involved, and if he goes to them, he will never see his daughter again. On the other side, Kwan is beating his men because they failed to kill Gina. He then goes to see the new batch of girls. He notices that Jen is different from the others. He tries to touch her, but she bites him. Don and Gina go to a gangster's hideout. Don pretends to sell Gina to them to get into the hideout. When they take him inside, he's greeted by an old woman who runs the human trafficking network. Don tells her that he's looking for his daughter, and in exchange, he will give them Gina. The old woman tells him that so many girls come here, and she doesn't know who his daughter is. She gives him some money for his efforts and tells him to leave. But when she takes Gina to another room, Gina winks at her, and the old woman tries to shoot Don. But because his hearing is so strong, he notices the sound of the gun being loaded and kills her. He goes inside and is attacked by some men who tie a chain around his neck. The Red Dragon, who works for Kwan, tells him that Kwan wants her to kill Gina. She ties both of them with a chain. If Don moves or attacks, Gina will drown. Meanwhile, Kwan is auctioning off the girls. Jen is forced to play the violin to get the bids up. When Kwan sees her, he stops the auction immediately. He tells Jen that she can either stay with him or he will auction her off to a buyer who treats people worse than animals. Jen hits him with the violin because she just wants to go home. Kwan is furious, but doesn't let his men hurt her, as he decides to auction her off tomorrow. Red Dragon asks him why he stopped the auction, but he yells at her, telling her not to forget who gave her this position. Red Dragon's men are still beating Don, but he manages to break the glass of the tank, and Gina is freed. When Red Dragon returns, Gina tries to kill her, but Don's daughter is still missing, and Red Dragon is the only one who can tell them where she is. Red Dragon tells them that she doesn't know where she is, but that she is still in the city, because Quan did not auction the new girls today. Before she can tell them more, Gina pushes her into Don, and the piece of glass he was holding slides across her neck, and she dies from a massive loss of blood. The police officer, Detective Rama, who is corrupt, shows up at the scene. He's told that a blind man attacked the men and immediately goes to the hideout. But Don and Gina have already escaped. Rama tells the media that Don is the one who did all this, and that he's a wanted criminal. Don doesn't care. He knows the department is corrupt, and he can't rely on them. All he wants is to find his daughter. Gina, who is a psychopath, still has thoughts of killing Don, but she always stops herself. Quan finds out that Gina killed Red Dragon, and he's terrified, as now there is nothing stopping Gina from getting to him. His uncle, Xingang, tells him not to worry. He tells Quan that he's new to this, and he's killed plenty of people like Gina before. Rama, who is in love with the officer whose uniform Gina stole, goes to her house to give her a bouquet of flowers. When she opens the door, Rama sees Gina in front of him. Before he can react, Quan's men appear and try to kill both Don and Gina. Gina blows up the gas cylinder, which kills most of them. Xingang arrives and fights with Don, who gets beaten very badly. Xingang hits him so hard that Don's senses stop working. Don jumps off the building. Xingang thinks he's dead, but the lift opens, and Don is inside. He's not giving up, and they fight again. Don chokes him with a wire, and Xingang passes out. Don takes him to a secret hideout and beats him, but he won't tell them anything. He promised Quan that he would protect him, and he is willing to die for it. Gina tries to kill him, but Don stops her and asks who she is. Don was already suspicious of her because he smelled a dead body in her apartment, and she didn't act like a cop. Gina repeats the same words she said to him on the night he was blinded. Don knows it's Kang's girlfriend. Lee also finds them. But Gina kills Xingang to protect herself, as he's the only one who knows where Quan is. Lee gets angry and shoots at Gina, but Don attacks him to save her. Rama, who is very angry about his girlfriend's death, comes to Don's hideout and finds Xinggang's body hanging from the ceiling and Lee on the floor. Gina, once again, puts a gun to Don's head. Don tells her that this is the third time she has done this. He asks her why she doesn't just kill him. Gina tells him that she will kill him, but only in front of his daughter. She tells him that her own father sold her for money, and she became an orphan. The first person she killed was her own father. She wants to see if Don's daughter will become like her after being orphaned. She asks him if he would still love his daughter if she became like Gina. Don says his daughter would never become like her, but if she does, she will always be his daughter. Meanwhile, Quan is getting ready for Jen's auction. He tells her that he never gave anyone a chance to be happy with him, but she can save herself from the auction. Jen doesn't give up and says her father will come to save her. Don needs a lot of weapons to fight Quan's men. Gina gets a truck full of weapons from her old friend. The man tells her the price of each weapon, and she tells him she needs all of them right now. When the man asks her for money, she shoots him and takes all the weapons to Quan's hideout. The auction starts, but Don breaks the door and enters. Quan's men try to stop him, but Gina gets a machine gun and kills all of them. They cut the power supply, and the place becomes dark. Don hears his daughter's voice, throws a ball in her direction, and it bounces off the stairs, which tells him where she is. Quan is terrified and asks his lawyer to help him. The lawyer tells him that he has worked for his family for years and doesn't want to get involved. He says he won't fight for him. Don kills all of Quan's men one by one. Quan has a special bomb that he tries to put on Jen, but Gina shoots him from behind and kills him. She has now killed all the men who hurt her. But her revenge is still not complete. She hangs Jen from the roof with a chain. Don begs her to let his daughter go and says he will do anything. Gina tells him that killing a blind man is too easy. She wants him to suffer. She tells him that if she drops the chain, his daughter will fall and die. Don doesn't know what to do, but then Jen tells him to catch the ball he gave her. He catches it and realizes how high up she is. He throws a grenade at Gina and fires multiple rounds at her in the confusion. Gina lets go of the chain, but Don catches her before she can fall, saving her. Even though Gina is half dead, she's still laughing. She tells him that she put a bomb on his daughter and that the bomb is connected to her heartbeat. If she dies, the bomb will explode. Don gets angry, but he can't kill her, as his daughter's life depends on Gina staying alive. Gina is losing a lot of blood and is dying. Jen tells him to leave her and run away, but he refuses. He remembers his bomb-defusing training. He asks Jen to tell him the color of the wire he has to cut, and she helps him. He cuts the right wire, and the bomb is defused. A little later, Rama arrives and arrests Don. He picks up the bomb, and it starts beeping. He gets scared and throws it in the water, but it explodes, injuring him badly. Don is not given a long sentence because he killed people on the most wanted list. Lee also requests the court to reduce his sentence, and they are hopeful that their appeal will be accepted. If you enjoyed this explanation, be sure to subscribe. I'll catch you in the next video.